How's your first UFC fight week been compared to what you experienced when you were here as like a training partner or just a teammate?
Yeah, it's very similar. The only difference up to now is they put some makeup on my face. Otherwise, that's been the same thing already. So yeah, more medias obviously, but yeah, I was expecting it. So yeah, that's so good.
And we don't often see a person making their debut at media days or on the embeddeds or everything like that. So why do you think the UFC is targeting you so much in all of these media obligations and everything?
Couple of things. I would say, first off, I'm lucky to come from a gym with these big names. And that helps me because that's probably one of the main reasons why I'm fighting on a pay-per-view right away. That helps a lot. And I guess they've seen my fights in the past and they know how exciting I can be when I fight. And that's definitely the things UFC looks for. So yeah, I guess that's the two reasons.
And have your teammates given you any advice ahead of your UFC debut in terms of like preparation or what to take in and how to experience your first fight week?
No, not really. I think they all know I'm quite professional in the way I approach the game and the sport, you know. And yeah, again, like I've been around them for a few years now, so I've seen those times many times, and I think that's the same thing. So I just need to stay focused on the goal, winning the fight, and that's it.
Was it important to be on this card with all of your teammates, or did you want to be on that Paris card at all?
That's a tricky question. Both options were great, to be honest. Paris would have been great because obviously the crowd, from what I've seen last week, it seemed insane, you know. And I've never fought back home, so that would have been great. But at the same time, fighting here in Australia, having all my teammates, all my friends, all my team around me, having only to fly 3 hours instead of 30 hours, that's a big thing for the UFC debut, you know. And that's a pay-per-view, so for a first fight, I guess it couldn't be any better.
And I do have to ask, the UFC, they're just getting into Paris. Last year was their first time on French soil. So I guess, what do you make of the landscape of mixed martial arts in France? Is it still coming up? Is it still new? And how do the French people view it?
French people have always been great in martial arts. The thing is that's all about opportunities. If you don't get the opportunity to show yourself and show how good you are, nobody knows about it. But for everyone who's been in France training over there, like there is very, very good people training and competing out of France. And now I really believe that's a beginning. And within the next 3 to 5 years, I'm sure there will be plenty of French fighters on the UFC roster.
Kevin, a lot of us here in Australia assume that when you won the Hex middleweight title back in May, that you would probably be getting a shot at the UFC. But for you, what was that initial feeling like, being told that you were being signed and were going to be debuting on this card?
Yeah, it was a good feeling, but at the same time, you know, I've been working on it for a few years now. That's not like I didn't expect it or anything. I knew it was going to happen eventually. I didn't know when, but I just think the timing is perfect, you know. I feel ready physically, mentally, and I just think the timing is perfect. And yes, I'm excited for this weekend.
What are your thoughts on Australian MMA? Obviously, you competed in Eternal and Hex as well. What are your thoughts on the Australian MMA scene at the moment? Obviously, you know, being a Hex double champion was a massive thing. Now you're signed to the UFC. So, you know, you've been in the Australian circuit for a number of years now and seen the progression of it. How do you view the Australian scene for mixed martial arts at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's great. Like something, Australia and New Zealand is growing. You watched a few years ago, not many people knew about it, and now that's crazy. We have so many high-level fighters coming on from this part of the world, including 2 champions, which is quite insane. And I'm sure that's growing and growing, and same thing, within the next few years, we'll have even more people coming from this part of the world.
Yeah. Your opponent, he also took a sort of a long road to get here. I think he's around the same age as you. What are your thoughts on him? What do you know about his game? And how are you looking to finish this fight and make your debut?
Well, I've seen a couple of his fights on YouTube, obviously. But yeah, I've just seen he seems to be an aggressive striker. He seems to be very good at his craft. But whoever I fight, I always focus on myself more than my opponent, really, because at the end of the day, you can't really know what he's going to do, you know. I can only work on my things and do my game plan right, and then that will make me win the fights.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you.
Hey, Kev, take us into the time that you spent at CKB, because I know you went from Absolute MMA to CKB, and everybody knows you for your judo, but how do you compare yourself to when you joined up to CKB to the fighter that we see right now going into the UFC?
Man, I have changed so much. Back then, like when I moved to CKB, I thought my striking was good, and I got there the very first time in 2019, and I got my ass kicked by most people, you know. And I just realized that I really needed to get better in striking, and that's why I've made the move over there, you know. Like one of the things I've always said is if you're the best guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And it's a good thing in CKB when I moved there, I was one of the worst guys in the room. And that's why I got so much better in a few years.
What is it about, obviously amazing fighters, but what is it about CKB that's been able to create so many, guys on the roster that are able to get all this success? Like, for example, I know that, it's hard to sometimes connect with fighters, especially when they've already had a bit of a career and they've fought, but they're really good at being able to bring out aspects in fighters when they join up to the gym and sort of polish up areas that they haven't been able to polish up before.
Yeah, I think the fighters and the trainers have a lot of experience, and they just are very good at sharing it with us and teaching us the right things. And everyone has different style, and the coaches are very good at adapting to each and every single fighter. And everyone is getting better that way. And just having so many good people on the mat helps to get better every single day.
Has Eugene had to yell at you because you've taken it easy in a spider before, or have you had to deal with that one yet?
Nah, he yells at me every single day, but not because I take it easy. I'm definitely not this kind of guy who trains easy. I train hard every day. I'm the kind of guy who always show up at the gym, fight or no fight. I'm always here to train and get better. I think on the goal, on the long term, and not only on the short term. So for training, that's not a problem. I'm always here. I'm always ready to train.
And I mean, 6 fights, 1 card for CKB. How do you sort of envision that? And for yourself as being on that card, how do you stop yourself from sort of paying too much attention to the other guys getting ready, or sort of wanting to see the other fights, or sort of maintaining your emotions when it's such a big moment for yourself?
So that's why I'm so lucky I'm the first fight of the night. So at least it makes it easier for me. You know, I'm going to be the first one to get the win for the team and make sure the team is on a good roll. And then I will be able to enjoy my mates fighting and just watch them. And that's going to be much more enjoyable for me than for the other guys, I guess.
Kevin, just over here, man. I think it was in Freestyle Bender. There was like a behind the scenes where it showed like the moment you found out that you were in the UFC. You kind of joked like that you were asking Huge like 2,000 times. What was that back and forth like, asking him, "Hey man, am I in? Am I in? Am I in?" You would have been so anxious by the end of it, I imagine.
Yeah, man. After I won my last fight for the Hex welterweight title, and I became the first 2-division champion on Hex, so first time in Australia, I got pretty much. I thought that was gonna happen sooner than later, but that didn't happen immediately. So it started to kind of stress me out, you know, because I'm like, damn, I've done everything. I showed everyone that I'm the best welterweight and middleweight out of this country, and I still didn't get the call. So if it doesn't happen now, when is it gonna happen? Is it even gonna happen? You know? And but I stayed ready. But as I said in the video, I asked him a lot of times, many times. But and he was like, "Yeah, stay ready, don't worry. That's probably gonna happen. Stay ready, stay ready." And it did happen. So now it's all on me to show why they've done the right choice of calling me.
Is it almost a better scenario that this is the car that you're making your debut on, as opposed to maybe earlier?
Yeah, I guess so. Because sometimes when you really want something, it just makes you better, you know. So I could have got it earlier maybe, but now I'm more ready than I was last month or 2 months ago or 3 months ago. So it's better now.
It's interesting because you say that when you started at CKB, you were the worst guy in the room. And I think it was in that video or in his movie, I'm not sure, but you just saying like you had a really dominant sparring day against Israel. You know, and I know sparring's up and down kind of thing, but like what do those days do for you when you've got the middleweight champion and you're able to be competitive with a guy, that special?
Yeah, man, that's as you say, that's sparring. You know, one day someone wins, the other day that's the other guy. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're only sparring and helping each other to get better and winning our fights. The main thing is all of us win on fight nights. That's what really matters. But yeah, like training with the best guys in the world helps you to realize how good you are or how bad you are, really, you know. And I'm lucky enough to have some of the best fighters in the world to train on a daily basis, and that's one of the reasons why I know I've been ready for a long time.